Welcome to another Manna Kitchen. Thank you so much for joining us. It's just great to be here in my kitchen again. We've missed a few months, but it's lovely to be back on board. And tonight I want to show you how to make soy ricotta, and then we're going to show you how to do it in 3 different recipes. It's super versatile. You can use it in so many different ways. And right now at the beginning, I want to remind everyone that at the end, if you are looking for the recipes, there will be a folder in the photo section of all the folders on the Manna Haven Café Facebook page. Just go there and there will be a folder that's called Soy Ricotta 4 Ways, June 2025. And that's where all of the recipe cards will be. So thought I'd tell you that now because I often forget. Heidi often reminds me, you forgot to tell them where the recipes are. So now you know. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to talk a lot about a very specific ingredient tonight. Which I'm sure you'll get to know very, very soon. But if you were to be told that after longitudinal studies over whole lifetimes of people, that there was a key ingredient that will cause you, if you eat it every day, will make you much more likely to be lighter, have a slimmer waistline, to have lower blood sugar levels, to have lower triglycerides, lower cholesterol, better kidney function, lower blood pressure, and help you to live longer, I think nearly all of us would be like, wow, tell me what that is. If there was a drug that did that, it would sell so well. But it's actually beans. It's beans. So all the populations in the world that eat beans every single day also have all of those things, but they live longer. And it's actually more protective, a little bit more protective for women than men. So get into the beans. And tonight, every recipe that I show you will use soy products. So mainly tofu is what we'll be using tonight. But soy is fantastic. And this is my favorite way to eat soybeans, apart from tofu. But this is my favorite way. So you can just buy this in the frozen section of Woolies. I don't think Coles has it, but these are just little raw soybeans. And they're so good. There they are. They're really, really good in just in salads, and I just eat them just like that. You know, I just put a little bit of soy sauce on them. They're great in stir fries. So that's my favorite way to eat soybeans. I won't be actually using those in any recipes today, but that's a really easy way to eat beans in your fridge. Super tasty. The other easy way to eat beans is just in cans. So beans, lentils, butter beans, chickpeas, red kidney beans, black beans. There's so many ways to eat them, and they're so versatile. And they give us all of those benefits. So get into beans, I say. Get into beans. Lovely green leafy veggies. Gorgeous dill that my friend Heidi brought me tonight. So good. Yum. The smell is beautiful, intoxicating. So we are going over here, and I'm going to show you how to make the soy ricotta first, because this is the basis for all the recipes tonight. Make sure we're turned on. Yes, we are. So starting with tofu from Aldi, my favorite tofu, because it is consistently always the same firmness. So just chop it up a little bit. I think Julian's got a packet there that he can show you. So we're going to put the tofu into our blender. Oh, tofu into the blender. Did you know that tofu and soy products have been linked to better cognition and lower levels of dementia too? They believe that that's one of the reasons why in Asia they have lower levels of dementia. So another reason to eat tofu. Whoops, that my bin isn't there at the moment. I might just put it in here. So in here we are going to make our soy ricotta, we are going to put in a teaspoon of salt. We're going to put in some mustard. I'm going to grab a teaspoon. So this is just Dijon mustard. You can see that one there. But I mean, you can use any. Aldi has a good one. Coles has another one. So we're going to put the Dijon mustard in there. We're going to use a couple of tablespoons of soy mayonnaise. And I've got the packet there as well. I like this one because it's gluten-free. So it's vegan and gluten-free. That one's in there too. We're going to put in, I think I used 3 cloves of garlic. So 3 cloves of garlic, crushed, in they go. Garlic's great this time of year. Get into the garlic because it's so good with all the cold and flu around. This is nutritional yeast flakes. So I think Julian has a packet there for you as well. So they sort of add a little bit of a cheesiness to them. And we're going to put in 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Before you juice the lemon though, zest it and keep the zest. It's great in smoothies, in desserts, and we're going to use it in our Filos later on, our spinach and ricotta Filos. So keep the zest. There's just as much vitamin C in zest as there is in the lemon. All right, and we're going to also put in 1/4 teaspoon of sage. Kind of gives a little bit of a peppery flavour without the inflammatory effect that pepper can have on some people. So a little bit of sage. So that's it for that. Now we are going to blend. Come on. Turned on. Just going to open that up and give it a little scrape down so we get all of that mayonnaise and mustard in there. And that's it. It's done. And this is fantastic in so many ways. It's good. You can add a bit of curry and some parsley, and it's kind of like a curried egg. It's great on sandwiches. It's great on toast. You can use it as it is on salad wraps. I love it on the top of baked potatoes, baked veggies, in a nourish bowl. Just put a little dollop in the middle of a nourish bowl. Anywhere that you'd use ricotta, you could use this. Yeah, it's a savoury though. It's a savoury one, so don't try putting it in dessert in this way. But yes, we're going to use that very soon. I'm going to show you how to use it in 3 other recipes. So I'll just get my lovely friend Heidi to take that away for me. Thank you so much for that, Heidi. And we are going to go over this way. I'm going to show you how to make a cherry tomato and soy ricotta galette. So we'll put one of these out here like this. And we're going to make the pastry first. It's a really easy pastry. It's just wholemeal flour, olive oil, water and salt. Now, if you're gluten-free, you're gluten intolerant, I've actually made some earlier today, which is the taste that we're going to have here. That's made with a gluten-free option. So instead of the 4 cups of wholemeal flour, because this recipe will make 2, it's going to make 2 galettes. So halve it if you only want to make 1. But the 4 cups of wholemeal flour, instead of using that for the gluten-free option, you put in 1.5 cups of gluten-free self-raising, 2 1/4 cups of buckwheat flour, and then 1/4 cup of besan flour. So that's chickpea flour. And that's actually quite a binding agent, the chickpea flour. So that's and that's all in the recipe, all in the recipe sheets. But tonight, for the use of demonstration, we're just going to use wholemeal flour. The great thing with wholemeal flour is that it has the little husks of the wheat are intact, which means all the B vitamins, thiamine and what's the other one? Anyway, the B vitamins are intact and they're so important, plus the fibre, which is great for your gut and it feeds your healthy gut bacteria. So instead of using white, use the wholemeal. And the flavour is really similar. And, you know, you're getting more value for money. You pay the same for white flour as you do for wholemeal. So buy the one that gives you more nutrition. And now we're going to make a bit of a slurry with some water and some olive oil. So I have got 1 1/3 cups there of water, and I'm going to put in 2/3 of a cup of olive oil. This is my favourite olive oil, Australian extra virgin. So no heat has been used in the extraction. All the polyphenols and oleuropein is all intact. And the other wonderful thing about extra virgin olive oil is there's been no no heat used in the extraction, but also no chemicals. So I know I've said it many times before, that's got that beautiful colour. That's 1/3, we're going to put 2/3 in. So light olive oil, a lot of people think, oh, light, that's better for me. Light, but light just means, yeah, it's light on all the good things. It's been sent away to a factory after all the good stuff's taken out, and they use chemicals to extract the last little bit of olive oil, and it's not healthy. So that's my favourite, that one. Now we're going to put some salt into there, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, I believe, and we're just going to whisk. And then while it's still emulsified together, we're just going to pour it into here. Make sure we get all that salt. And stir this around like this. And it comes together pretty quickly. It's actually like it's a very simple wholemeal pastry. Okay. I'm just going to get my hands into this soon. So yeah, it's pretty quick. My mum used to make this when I was a little girl. She used to roll it flat and cut it into squares, and we used to have these crackers. A very similar recipe. Okay, so now I'm going to put it on here. Put this over here. And I'm just going to cut that in half. Roughly in half. So one over there and one here. Now I just give it a bit of a rough size, and then I'll use my rolling pin. This was my mum's when I was a little girl growing up in PNG. Loved this rolling pin. She made so many good things for us with this rolling pin. Okay, so I'm just looking for a circle that goes right up to the edges. A rough circle, it doesn't have to be perfect. Hello, Miles. I saw photos of you doing a cooking class the other day. It looked so good. Well done. Okay, so we've got a rough circle. I'm just going to tidy those edges just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to put it over here on my pizza tray like this. Then I'm going to get half of that. So this is one batch of soy ricotta that I made earlier. So what I made before is a full batch, and I'm just using half on each galette. Okay, just use your fingers. And what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to spread it out, but leave a little gap of about 3 centimeters all the way around, because we're actually going to fold the edges down. This is about as close as you get with vegan cooking of cheese in the crust. So yes, it's very tasty. So we just keep spreading this out. I didn't realize, but this week I was reading that there's only been 3 studies ever done that are longitudinal studies that went for a long time, looking at the link between soy consumption and breast cancer in women. And all 3 of them say that it's protective. So consumption of soy products, tofu, tempeh, soybeans, soy milk, they're all very protective. And the greater amount of soy products that the women consumed, this is about 5,000 women, were followed for 9 years in China. I think they published it in the American Journal of Medicine in 2004, which is at 2009. But yes, the more they consumed, the greater was their protection. So a lot of people are afraid of soy, but it's actually very protective, very, very protective. And when we think these cultures in China and Japan, other parts of Southeast Asia, have been consuming soy for a long time, and they enjoy the benefits. Okay, so you can see there I've got like a little strip all the way around. So now what I'm wanting to do is I'm just going to fold. So So I'm going to fold in like this. So you can see we've kind of got a cheese in the crust vibe going on. Now, when you're doing the gluten-free one, you'll probably find that you've got to use the paper a little bit, because the gluten-free one does tend to break up a little tiny bit. But it's actually pretty forgiving. You'll be surprised if you're gluten intolerant and you need to do the gluten-free one. You'll be surprised at how forgiving it is. Okay, so there we go. And here we've got some tomatoes that I chopped up earlier. Beautiful cherry tomatoes. Apparently, when you eat tomatoes with olive oil, and I will be sprinkling this with olive oil, ample amounts of olive oil. So when the tomatoes are cooked, heated with the olive oil, it actually increases the lycopene content by over 80%. And lycopene is a really powerful antioxidant that is protective for cells, and especially protective for men and prostate cancer. So whenever you're having tomato, I'm sure you can have them raw, but also think of cooking them and cooking them with olive oil. So I'm just sort of pushing them in as I go, squeezing in tomatoes here, there, and everywhere. It doesn't have to be perfect. Cherry tomatoes are a lot cheaper than the big tomatoes at the moment too. So the regular size tomatoes, I think I saw them for $12 a kilo, which is shocking. So yeah, cherry tomatoes, just as good for you, but a bit cheaper. Okay, we're nearly there. So just keep going. It actually takes a little bit more than a punnet. So for two, I would sort of be thinking maybe 2.5 punnets to 3 punnets. Okay, so I'm just going to press that in there like that. Just press it in. And now I'm going to add, I won't add this. I really like this one, but I put it on at lunchtime and it was a little bit hot because I think I put too much on. But I've got this here because I have a friend here, Nick, who loves a little bit of chili. So he is going to add a little bit of that over his, but because not everyone loves chili, and that's particularly good, Woolworths, I bought that in, I'm just going to use the normal olive oil. So I'm just going to increase the lycopene here. We're putting it in the oven, increasing it by over 80%. All you men out there, we're protecting you from prostate cancer, or helping. And then I'm just going to put on some herbs. You can put on fresh herbs. I thought I had thyme in the garden, and I went to look and I didn't have any thyme in the garden. So I'm just going to use some Italian herb mix, and that's all I'm going to do there like that. That's it. So it doesn't take very long. I would already have 2 done by now if I wasn't talking, but I am talking. So, all right, we're going to put this in the oven. It needs to be in the oven for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to put it in and put the timer on. Okay, we're going to put the timer on. We can be sure it will not burn. Start. Let me wash my fingers. Okay. Thank you, Heidi. Yes, we can get rid of all of that. Thanks so much. That can go. Thanks very much. Perfect. Okay, what we have to do is we need to come over, just trying to think all the things that I need. I think these are the main ones. We need to go over and do some cooking now. Should just get rid of that, shouldn't I? No, I won't put it there. So we're going to make Filos, ricotta and spinach Filos. I mean, you can put any greens in here. If you've got parsley in the garden, if you've got kale in the garden, if someone has given you a big bunch of greens. I know Dave, he's another friend here, he has this brilliant garden, so does Heidi, and they're always giving me these big bunches of green leafy vegetables. If it's green and leafy, you can chop it up and put it in this recipe. But for the sake of ease, because most of you may not have access to a garden, I've actually used frozen spinach. So This is frozen spinach that has been thawed. I'll just show you the packet. Now the recipe says that you need about 450 to 500 grams, and this packet says that it's 450 grams. However, you can't have any water in it. So I've already squeezed a lot of the water out of here, but as you can see, there's still a lot of water in there, still heaps of water. So it actually has to weigh about 450 to 500 grams when the water is squeezed out. I'll also show you an easier way to do it rather than the defrosting squeezing method. So I've got onion in here with a little bit of olive oil. I've also got a couple of shallots. I'm going to add in some garlic. Now you can use the garlic out of the jar if you like. You don't have to if you've got fresh garlic. So I always have these. So it's so quick. If you have to make something quickly, you can use this. I just buy them from Aldi. They're in any supermarket. So it's about 2 tablespoons of that. But that would probably be about 5 or 6 cloves of garlic if you want to use fresh. Okay, so we're just going to stir that. We just want to cook it until the onion is soft. It doesn't need to be brown or hard. While that's cooking, I'm going to run over and put my quick rice in the microwave. So I'm just using one of these. So it's just quick rice. It's already been cooked. If you've got rice pre-cooked left over in the fridge, use that. But I'm just going to put this, you tear it a little bit at the top and just put it in for 90 seconds. All right. In here, I'm going to add very soon. So there's some yummy fresh dill. I've actually chopped up some of the little softer stems as well. Take the big hard ones off, but the soft ones are fine. Dill and lemon are the 2 things that are really important not to leave out of this recipe. The flavour is amazing. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of macel in. It's the chicken like vegan stock seasoning, stock powder. And I'm going to put in some of the yeast flakes that we used earlier. So this one here. So I'm going to put some of this in as well. Stir that through. And our dill starts to smell so good. I'm sure I get all of that dill out. Such a gorgeous, gorgeous smell. Turn that heat down just a tiny bit. Now I'm going to leave you with Julian because I'm going to run and grab something out of my freezer. I'll be right back. I'm back. So you know how sometimes you have spinach in the fridge, and this one's opened upside down. You have spinach in the fridge and it's starting to, you just know you've only got about 24 hours and it has to be used. Now, I have a green smoothie every single morning, so I hardly ever have that happen to spinach now. Do that, put it in the freezer, and then you've got all this frozen spinach, and it's really quick. Instead of chopping it, you just break it like this, and it's chopped already. There's no water in there, as that frozen one has, and you just pop it in there like that, and we're just going to wilt it down. That's all we're going to do, just wilt it down. And it's super quick, no chopping. And the moisture in the leaves helps to take all of that flavour off the bottom of the fry pan. That's it. Okay, I'm going to add the rest of that spinach. And mix it through. Try to break up those little frozen lumps. So if I didn't have that spinach in the freezer, I probably would have used most of the rest of that other bag of frozen spinach. But I just wanted to let you know another way. So if you've done that a few times in a row, after a couple of weeks, you might have enough spinach in the freezer that you can make this recipe with. Instead of throwing it away when it starts to get to that point where you think, oh no, it's gone. Well, not when it's slimy, but you know, the day before when you know it's about to go. Okay, so we've got our spinach mixture done. There we go. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put it in my big bowl. Oh, thank you, Heidi. Can get rid of that. Thanks, Heidi. So, all of that in there. And I'm going to add lemon zest. Remember I said earlier, keep the lemon zest, always keep the lemon zest. If you put lemon zest in your smoothie with a little bit of spinach, some soy milk, a bit of chocolate powder, cocoa powder, some lemon and some blueberries, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful, it's so sweet. Lemon zest, there's something about it, it's magical. It just really adds such great flavour to so many recipes. Okay, so we're just going to mix that through. There's a big stem there. I don't really want that. Might just get rid of that. Okay, now I'm going to put in my rice. Kind of a Greek pie sort of a filling with the rice there. And it's quite hot still. I don't really want to put it hot onto my phyllo pastry because it'll make it tear too easily. However, when I add my batch of soy ricotta, it will cool it down really quickly. Okay, so now I'm just going to mix this through. You could put this in a pie. You could roll it up in puff pastry like sausage rolls. You don't have to do it in Filos. That's what we're going to be doing tonight though. You could also make, so the pastry that I made for the galette, if you roll that out thinner into like rectangular shapes with the gluten-free option, you can actually, that's a really good pastry for like sausage roll or spinach and ricotta roll, roll pastries. Okay, done. So what we do now, it's not too hot. So I'm going to show you a gluten-free option first, because obviously phyllo pastry is not gluten-free. These are in Woolworths or Coles, usually right down the bottom. Be Free is the brand. They're gluten-free wraps. I like the sweet potato ones best. They're my favourites. So we're just going to take out one of these. I'm going to pop it in the microwave for just about 5 or 6 seconds, just to make it a little bit soft. While that's happening, I will get one of these ready. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, so in the middle, like so, maybe a little bit more. So this recipe makes it depends on what size Filos you do, but it will make probably between 7 and 10. So we're just going to do that. I'm going to fold this in on either side, and I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it on my tray like so, and I'm going to spray it with a little bit of olive oil. So that's the gluten-free option. Now, the non-gluten-free option with phyllo pastry from the cold section, not the frozen section. I don't know if they still sell phyllo pastry in the frozen section, but it's useless. This is the only one that you want. unroll it carefully, 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 carefully. If it's a hot day, you'll need a wet towel to put over the top of this, like a damp towel, because it dries out really quickly. So this is the magic that you have to remember. Some olive oil spray in between every layer. So we just do that, and then we do this, like that. And now we're going to do, so we're aiming to make a triangle in this corner like that. That's what our aim is. So we're going to do this like this. A little bit more. That's our aim. So again, using fingers. So like this, just like that. Okay, so you see I've made like a triangle shape. There like that. I'm going to wash my fingers. And now I'm going to fold this. No, I'm going to spray again. Don't forget to spray at each stage. So there, and there, there, and there. And because I know it's not going to be a full square at the bottom, I am going to fold that like that. And I put this on my tray over here and give it a spray. Okay, now I'm going to go again. I'll do it one more time. So doesn't matter if there's a little fold in it. Flatten it out. Give it another spray. Make another triangle up in the top corner. You like this. Okay. Triangle. Wash your hands again. Okay, now fold. Just keep folding. Be fairly firm with the folding. Folding down. Fold down. Tuck that up. Fold it over. And there's another one. Okay, so that's how we do Filos. So gluten-free, not gluten-free. We're going to pop those in the oven, and I think my recipe says we need 30 minutes. But I'm going to go for 25. Can I get some beautiful person to do a 25-minute timer for me, please? Thank you. Don't leave your phyllo pastry out because it will very, very quickly get very, very dry. So if you've finished using it, make sure you put it away. And it'll keep in the fridge, you know, for a couple of weeks, so long as you look after it. Fold it down so the edges don't get dry. And then that folded end I always put back inside my box and pop it in the fridge. Thank you, Heidi. I might give you, yeah, those two can go. Thanks. I'm going to stick this back in the fridge. Heidi, could you take those as well, please? Thank you. All right, now I'm going to show you the entree. It's a little bit out of order. So this is something that I often do for an entree. It's really easy. If you've already got the ricotta made, we made quite a mess here on this bench, didn't we? If the ricotta is already made, it's really easy to do. So these are sweet potato and soy ricotta stacks. So I'm going to go over and get my sweet potato. So these are sweet potatoes that I chopped up earlier. So you want a fairly sort of long, thin sweet potatoes. I mean, you could do big ones as well. And this sweet potato is probably about this round. They do shrink down as they bake. So I'm just going to put these on this tray like this. Look at this. It's like, this is so sugary. It's like syrup. It's so yummy. I scrape it off with my fingernails when I'm on my own in the kitchen and just eat it. But I won't do that here. That wouldn't be the right thing to do. All right. Or you can also plate it like this. So just plate one separately by itself. If you're serving entrees, I'll give you that one, honey. Now I'm going to show you very quickly how to make a vegan Parmesan sprinkle. Actually, before we do that, what I might do is, Heidi, can I just have the bowl that has the big container, blending container?
This one?
Yeah, thanks. Just quickly show you what I do here. So we're just putting a little dollop on the top of each of our sweet potatoes, just like this. I don't think I've made enough for all of the guests that are here, but I can make more later. Lucky I've got clean hands. So yes, there's another way to eat tofu. Now I know that tofu doesn't taste particularly wonderful, but tofu, like kale, is very, very good for us, incredibly good for us, but it needs friends. So this is a good friendly recipe for tofu. And when it's got so many benefits, my goodness, I was on the internet looking at on nutritionfacts.org. So if you are looking for information, it's a brilliant site, nutritionfacts.org. Dr. Michael Greger. It's a not-for-profit. There's no advertisements. He doesn't look for any funding for it. It's all completely above board, and all of the profits go to charity. But yeah, nutritionfacts.org has some great information. You can Google just about anything to do with nutrition, and you'll find information there. Okay, so we've got that. Then I usually grab, I like Roma tomatoes, but I'm actually just going to use these. Let me get a little plate, because I couldn't actually find Roma tomatoes. Julian went looking, I went looking, no Roma tomatoes. So I'm just going to slice a few of these bigger cherry tomatoes. And we'll put these on top here like this. One, two, three. Let's grab another one. Another nice big one. Like that. Now let's go over and make our vegan parmesan crumble to go on top. So we just need one of these. We're going to use 3/4 of a cup of raw cashews, 3 tablespoons of yeast flakes, so that's this one again. We're going to put in a little bit of turmeric. I think it's only half a teaspoon. That's for colour. And half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay. Well, looks like we've only got 10 minutes to go on our galette. Okay, now I'm going to blend it until it's like breadcrumbs. If I can get the blender to go. Now there's still some lumpy bits in there, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to leave it like that. Julian's got a suggestion? Scrape it down a bit. Yeah. That might help a little bit. If you scrape it down, get all that turmeric to mix in nice and evenly. It might encourage those last chunks of nuts to be vitalised. Okay, and this, it's like, you know parmesan that you can get, that you just sprinkle over pasta, over veggies. That, it's just like a parmesan sprinkle. It's salty and cheesy and it tastes so good. And this will keep in your pantry, so you don't need to put it in the fridge. Keep it in your pantry in a sealed container, sort of in the dark in the pantry, for weeks. Yeah, it's really good on pasta. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit over the top of these, just to add a bit of flavour to my tomatoes and flavour to the stack. You can see there's going to be quite a lot left over. Clean up my mess. Okay, and then I just put a little sprig, just some little leaves on top like this. Is just oregano out of my garden. I'll just put a little sprig on top. I was listening to Dr. Michael Greger talking about the actual mechanism that soybeans have in our bodies, and cancer, in order to grow, actually turns off a gene called the BRCA gene, B-R-A-C, B-R-A-C or B-R-C-A. Anyway, the BRCA, they call it BRCA gene, and soy turns it back on again. So that's why they believe it's protective for many types of cancer, especially prostate and breast cancer. Now, so that's those. Just a really quick little entree. How hard is it to bake some sweet potato with the skin on? I always leave the skin on, extra fibre. And yeah, some tomato, a little bit of your vegan parmesan. If you don't have time for the parmesan, just use a little bit of the yeast flakes if you like. And yeah, just a bit of herbs on top. Delicious. Okay, I'm going to give this to you, lovely. Can you take that over to the table? Thank you. I'm going to give this to Heidi. Thank you, darling. All right, let's make dessert. Let's come and make dessert. Actually, I knew there was something I needed. Heidi, I need the jug back because I've got to actually empty that and give it a rinse. Thanks. Okay, let me give this a quick rinse. Yeah, thanks. So the dessert that I'm making is a Choc-Jaffa Mousse with raspberries. And this is not made on our SOY ricotta because this is a savoury dish. This is actually made on silken tofu. 5 minutes until we can get our galette out. Alright, so silken tofu. So this is not a firm tofu, this is a soft tofu. You need to use a soft one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in. So drain off some of that water. Cut that just a little bit more. It's also important to remember when you're choosing milks. So I choose soy milk, and I love this one. This is one that I've used a lot lately. I really like this one, just from Aldi, organic soy milk. It's really pure ingredients, and it actually lowers CRP, so C-reactive protein, which is an inflammatory marker that if you have some different diseases, it shows up in your blood results. So soy milk actually reduces it. So when you're choosing a plant-based milk, soy actually has a much higher level of protein than like your rice or your oat or your almond. And just for instance, I think this soy milk, the protein level is 3 grams per 100 And in this almond milk, which I do use for desserts, it's a good product. But this one here has 0.5 grams, so 6 times less protein per 100 grams. So important to remember that. If you're looking to replace dairy milk, soy milk has a very similar protein profile. All right, so we'll put our silken tofu in. Now I'm going to put in a third of a cup. So this is already measured. My maple syrup is already measured. There's a third of a cup here. So a third of a cup of maple syrup in on top. And 3 tablespoons of, oh, it's got a bubble in the bottom, of raw cacao powder or cocoa powder, either or. And I'm going to put in, this is the zest of an orange, okay? So kind of a medium-sized orange. I have some beautiful oranges. Look at this. Look at this one. This is kind of like, you'd only use half of that if the orange was that big. Julian found these for me. And my darling neighbour, Terry, and Sylvia, they gave us a whole lot of oranges just today. So this was one of their oranges, and this is the zest that is going, so orange zest that's going into the mousse. So orange zest will actually add like a Jaffa flavour to your mousse, which is really yummy. Just it really lifts it and gives it just a whole other profile. Tiny little pinch of salt, just a little bit. To bring out the flavour, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of vanilla paste. Not tablespoons, 2 teaspoons. So that's actually a 2 teaspoon measure there. And to set it, this is actually quite soft. To set it, I'm going to use psyllium husk. So psyllium husk will add fibre. So here it is here. This is the one from Aldi, but it's only available a few times a year. But if you just go to the health food store or the health section of Woolies or Coles, you'll find psyllium husks. And adding fibre to a dessert makes it protective. So it slows down that sugar spike, adding fibre. So there's fibre, already a bit of fibre in the tofu, there's some in the zest, and there's a lot in the psyllium. Now we're going to blend. I'm just going to stop it once and scrape it down. Scrape, scrape, scrape. And that's it. That was easy, wasn't it? Well, that's your dessert done. Now all you have to do is pour it into, so it's very liquid. You can see it's very liquid. Without the psyllium, it wouldn't actually set very well at all. So you need the psyllium. So sounds like our galette is ready to come out. Just remind me to get it out. I just want to show you something first. So I love these little glasses for these particular desserts. So I would just fill it to about there. It'll make about 4 of those. And then you put them in the fridge to set them, and then I just top them with raspberries and some chopped dark chocolate. Now let me come over this way and show you how I will do that. So get them out of the freezer, no, the fridge I should say, out of the fridge. So here's some that I did earlier for all my lovely friends who've come to watch. And we're going to grab some raspberries and some chocolate chunks. Now, I need to remember to get the galette out, don't I? I better do that now. I think it actually needs a little bit more time. It's not quite brown enough for me yet, so I'm going to leave it in for another 5 minutes. Sorry. Okay, so the dark chocolate I'm using is my favorite. It's from Aldi. And the great thing about it, although it's also a little bit naughty because it's very tempting, is that they come in these little pieces like this. So I've just chopped up one of these, but the fact that they come in these very easy little packets does make them a little bit tempting in the pantry. So beware. Don't have too many there. But yeah, they have on the ingredients list, it's very simple: cocoa mass, sugar, cocoa butter. Cocoa butter is vegan. Emulsifier, it does have soy and it contains vanilla. And then it says it may contain traces of wheat, it may contain traces of milk, peanuts. So if you've got any allergies, you need to be careful and get a dark chocolate that won't give you any allergy problems. This recipe actually comes from this book, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Caldwell B. Esselstyn, and this book is half recipe, so it's half how he promotes curing. So it's actually how to prevent and reverse heart disease. He actually had a friend who had serious heart disease and was told, go home, get your things in order because you're going to die and we can't do anything else for you. And Dr. Esselstyn, let me see if I can quickly find, okay, here. So the reversal of coronary disease. So this is the artery in his friend's, so this is on his heart. That section here, you can see it's very, very constricted, and why he was going to die. They couldn't do any more stents or any more bypasses. And then solely with food intervention and exercise and diet, so lifestyle changes, he was able to get this result. So 3 years later. So you can see it's really quite amazing between those two. So that's how he really got started. That's what made him think, wow, there's something in this. I've really got to promote this. So yes, great book. If you can get a copy, it's fantastic. And yes, half the book is recipes that his wife developed. And this is one of them. I've just added in the psyllium, and I've added in also the orange zest. So I love that Jaffa flavour. Okay, so to serve these, it's another soy product that I love. So this is Vitasoy Greek-style yogurt. You can get it in strawberry, you can get it in blueberry, you can get it in vanilla, obviously. They used to have it in lemon, which was great for making vegan cheesecakes, but they don't anymore. And the reason why I love this a lot more than the coconut one is it is much less calorie dense. So the coconut yogurts are beautiful, but they're hugely high in calories, whereas this one is higher in protein and much lower in calories. And I think it's smoother. I like it better. It doesn't have that kind of oily aftertaste. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this in the top of each of these, just like this. It always takes so much longer, doesn't it, than you think. So just a little bit of soy yogurt in on top. Now this soy yogurt is probably not the traditional way that they are enjoying soy in China and enjoying all of those protective qualities that I told you about, eating beans every day, but it is a way to eat it, that's for sure. And just put some berries in on top. Well, there's my galette. I'll be right back. And my Filos look pretty done too, so all right. So there it is. Ready to go. Yum. Okay. So we're going to put a few more raspberries on. Hope I made enough of these guys. And then some dark chocolate to sprinkle over, just a little bit. Oh, how good does that look? And it's simple. It wasn't hard to make. You saw me make it just now, real time. Done. Okay. And we're done. I think we're 5 minutes early. So thank you very, very much for joining us again. I hope that I have inspired you to go out and find new ways to enjoy soy. Tempeh, tofu, soy yogurt, soy milk. Just remember, I know there's a lot of things out there that might be anti-soy, but it's important to remember to look at studies that have big cohorts. I mean, there's a study out there from Indonesia that linked dementia with the consumption of soy. But then when they looked into it, it was a small cohort of people that they studied, and it was linked to tofu only. It wasn't linked to soybeans. It wasn't linked to tempeh. So they thought, well, something about the tofu. So they went and they looked at the tofu, and in Indonesia, in order to keep their tofu looking fresh and not slimy, they used formaldehyde. So that's exciting, isn't it? So once they took the formaldehyde out of the process, it stopped the dementia levels happening in Indonesia. So we have to remember that when you're looking at studies about soy, just make sure you look for big cohorts, like the 5,000 plus women that were studied for 9 years in China, that have shown us that it's incredibly beneficial to eat soy, beneficial and protective against disease and cancer as well. So yes, I'm going to have a little mouthful of one of these. Filos are, do you want me to show you the Filos? True, I haven't shown you them yet, have I? Julian's saying, what about the Filos? Good point. All right, Filos. So let's put them here. There we go. Yum. Now I'm going to ask one of my beautiful assistants, Dave, could you please bring me that little tray of Filos over? Okay, these are some that I did earlier that I can actually touch, because those ones are going to be very, very hot. So I'm just going to grab one of these and put it here like this. Put it in there. And cut it open. There you go. So ricotta and spinach Filos. Yum! The dill in there and the lemon in there is divine. So yummy. Okay. So on that sweet note, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for joining us. In August, I'm going to share some of my favorite wintry kind of recipes, and I've finally decided that I'm going to share my quite famous chocolate mud cake recipe. So there's celebration going on in the room. I can hear it already. So please join me in August. And yes, in the meantime, enjoy and yeah, look for more soy products. See you next time.